Q&A from the bed, like old times.
Old
this is
times.
like vintage We Are the Words.
Q&A Friday.
Q&A Friday, and guest starring a sleeping toddler.
Oh, Harper.
Look at those lips. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, Harper Ellis Ward.
The sweetest baby I know.
Well, thanks for all your questions, guys.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. We're going to try to do this one take, so I don't have to do a ton of editing.
One take? Oh, no.
So
just in case anybody's curious.
We're so curious.
I've drinking?
You've drinking.
Oh my gosh. I've drank 80 ounces of water. I need to drink 5 more ounces, but I don't have a bottle of water in here.
Oh,
and it's going to turn over, and I'm not going to hit my goal.
We can do this. Hopefully it won't be over 21 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. See, you got a reason to go.
Let's go.
Okay. Let's do this. Hi guys, we're just looking.
Excuse me. There's just like nothing better in the world than just a cuddly sleeping little baby next to you. Ugh. It's so just cuddly and lovely.
Okay, Robin has the first. We're going backwards. So Robin has she has a few questions. Here we go. You make maintaining your weight losses look so easy. What's your secret? First of all, it's not easy.
Robin. And second of all,
Robin.
Some days I feel way more successful than others. I mean, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Maintaining is the hardest.
Absolutely.
I think that it's just a constant battle of the flow between, sometimes you're coasting and sometimes you're on the way up and sometimes you're on your way down. It's just like and I think the more just aware you can and honest you can be about where you're at is the best, because then you can decide what direction you need to go.
Yeah.
Every single day, because it's unique and different every day.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is just not letting things get too out of hand.
Totally.
Like if you're gonna, a few days here and there where you're off for a week or so, but you can't let it go past that.
No.
Because, we just all know people who gained it back, and I think they would all say it was a few days, a couple weeks that turned into this.
A couple months that turned into.
So you just have to always be on guard, and I think that's the vigilant. I know that sounds like, I don't want to live that way, but once you accept that you have a problem with this.
Would you rather live the other way, where you've gained all your weight back after all you worked so hard? If being vigilant is the price you have to pay, I think that's worth
and I
it.
think living in a 10 to 15 pound area, or 10 preferably, where it's like, I'm at the top of this 10, I got to get that off. Rather than I've gained 30 pounds, 40, then all of a sudden you're in a whole other ball game. So I think those are the things we think about a lot, and that ain't easy.
Yeah.
So Ben, you mentioned that the Daniel diet. How did that go for you? It went great. I lost majority. 7.5 pounds this past time I did it, and it's also a fast for me spiritually, so there's some other things going on, and it has to do with my appetite and conquering my appetite, but that's how I lost 60 pounds of my 100 pounds originally. And so it's a very I don't want to say nostalgic, because that seems too light, but it's a very powerful thing for me to do it, and I enjoy eating that way. Actually,
I think nostalgic is a good word.
It
brings you,
harkens back to
back to a time where God did a really powerful thing in your life. I think that's great.
So anyway, it's really great. And it's pretty simple, to be honest with you. It's just really, really strict, but once you decide to live within those parameters, it's super easy. It being a fast for me makes it a lot easier not to cheat at all. Not like to have, it's like, I'm doing this for this amount of time.
Right.
Olivia, you always wear a gold bracelet. Could you comment on that?
Oh yes, I wear this gold bracelet. Is a Cartier love bracelet that Ben gave me 5 years ago.
No, it'll be 6 right after the show.
Yes, I've only taken it off once in 6 years, when Harper was born. I had to take it off because I had a C-section. But it's actually, I don't know if you can see, if you come close, but it's actually, let's see if it will focus. It's screwed. Do you see there's a screw there? It's screwed on my arm. So there's one on this side too. So you physically, in order to get it off, you may have to, there we go. I have to get a little screwdriver out to unscrew it. But I love it. It's like, it originally, the love bracelets came out in the 60s, was it? 70s? So. They've been around for a really long time, and I always wanted one. I knew somebody in high school whose mother had one, and I always, like, my whole life I wanted one. And so, and Ben, I talked about him for years. So when I got off Biggest Loser for our first anniversary after I got off the show, Ben bought one for me. They're outrageously expensive.
And they're way more expensive now than they were 6 years ago.
Oh my gosh, they're like $2,000 more now than they were then. They're like, but we also have now that Cartier has a whole love line. It's supposed to be like kind of like an old fashioned, like, you know, you give the keys of your heart to somebody. So the idea is that, you know, your significant other gives you a bracelet that can't be removed. So it's like, he's with me at all times, and only he has the keys to unlock it, if that makes sense. But our wedding rings, we switched those out a few years ago, and their Cartier Love band, the bands are from the same line. And I mean, I love this stuff. I'd love to get, this one is in yellow gold. They have them in white gold and rose gold. I'd love to get a rose gold one day to put with the yellow gold one. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, this is actually a combo comment and question. This is from Happy Wife 721. Hi, Happy Wife 721.
Hello.
There it says they've been trying to conceive for 4 years, and they struggled with infertility. They ended up booking a trip to New Orleans rather than Mexico, like we were talking about, and they found We Are the Words through our New Orleans video, which we did last year.
Well, hello, welcome.
They live in Queens as well, which is really
crazy.
Sloan and them live in Queens as well. Anyway, she said, would you ever do a cycle class specifically for your TTC/YouTube community? I just adore you guys and baby Harper.
That's so sweet. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. It would be fun. And even if not a soul cycle class, like maybe we could do like a meetup / boot camp in Astoria Park or something sometime this summer. That would be really fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming. Yeah, and thanks
coming. And we're just, I know we talk about this all the time. We know what an incredible struggle that is. And, you know, we waited 17 years. I'm praying that you don't have to wait that long. But we had to wait that long for this little nugget. But I can tell you on this end of it, it was worth every tear, every moment of doubt, every, you know, just watching your other friends have babies, going to birthday parties. It was all that heartache that's involved in infertility. It was so worth it. Looking now, sitting here with this, no matter what your plan, God's plan is for you, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your journey to becoming a parent.
It's good. Okay, yeah, I think this one actually follows up. This is from Monique. She's wondering. He's like, shh. She says, I'm wondering if you guys would consider medical measures if a second pregnancy doesn't happen naturally. I have PCOS too. I think I've said before, I've lost a ton of weight and been attempting my second now for a year. My toddler required medication to be conceived and it took a few years. I just hate the process medically and I'm dreading and probably am being impatient. Of course, God's timing is always perfect and greater than our own. I'm certainly not very good at receiving that though, LOL. I'm just curious as to your thoughts.
It's interesting that you say that because I mean, I think I have pretty strong feelings. We obviously definitely want to have another baby, but I definitely don't want to go the route of IVF or IUI or any of those and it's funny, even before I had Harper, I had kind of made that decision. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just don't think it's for me. I think it's an incredible tool, and for so many people, brings their miracle babies. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, for me, it just doesn't feel quite right. So if for some reason that God doesn't have another, biological baby in our future, we definitely want to try to adopt a baby if that's, the option we need to go with. But it's just, it's funny that you say it, 'cause I just know so many people who've had such a hard time with medications and, like symptoms, not only immediate symptoms, but way down the road from infertility meds are just really tough on the body. So, yeah, but I have such high respect for women who go through all of that. I mean, it just shows how the desire to be a mother for some people is just so incredibly deeply embedded. And I love it. I feel like I'm so blessed to already have a child. So if this is what God has for me and that's it, then I can rest in that. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to, because I didn't use any meds when we got pregnant with Harper. I just got pregnant on my own. We used the Glow app, which we've talked before, but yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Monique.
Did I answer that question? Yes. Thanks, Monique. And we'll be praying for you.
Yeah. And that's,
sure.
Just trying to see what the right thing is for you and what your path and what God has for you. That's the thing. But I think for us, adoption, that's something we've always wanted to do. Even if we had another one, we even thought about adopting beyond that. Jana says Norp and South, which I had never heard of them actually. They're vloggers on YouTube, and they're staying near Astoria. Have y'all considered doing meetups with other YouTubers that are in your area? Well, sure, we meet up with anybody. Actually, definitely. You know us. We're but they're fun. I watched a video or two of theirs. Yeah. They're kind of fun, so that would be good. Chris W says, have you guys heard about intermittent fasting and keto? Thoughts on it? My husband and I both noticed that when we go a period of time eating good and fall off the wagon, how it affects our bodies, such as aches, etc.
Babies crack me up. Yes, I've heard of intermittent fasting. I actually tried it for a little while. The thing that stinks for me about intermittent fasting is the way my job is, the times that I ride. So for me, like, I would need to stop eating at like 4 in the afternoon and then wouldn't be able to eat until like 9 the next morning. Well, I teach at 9:30, so I can't eat like a big meal at like in that next 8 hours. So it just was really hard for me to kind of make that work in my schedule. But I do think intermittent fasting is great if you can do it. The whole keto thing, I can't really speak to the fact. I can't speak to it because I don't really know it. I know a lot of people who do it and love it and are very successful with it. I think you have to know your body and what's going to be the most productive in your own body. Like Ben can have lots and lots and lots and lots of brown rice and Ezekiel bread and like all kinds of dairy, and as long as he keeps everything in a lower calorie budget, he does really well with his weight. I couldn't eat all that brown rice and all that other stuff. There's no way. I would be as big as a set of nails. That being said, I also want to be really mindful, considering now that like heart disease runs in my family, even though I know the whole idea about keto is that even with the higher healthy fats, it still lowers those kind of things like cholesterol, I just think what works best for me is keeping my carbs lower and getting them through fruit and vegetables primarily. Just keeping things in balance. I think if I cut out like whole food groups and things like that, it's really hard. It's really tough, I think, to maintain that for life. And so that's my only thing that concerns me about things like going full paleo or full keto, it's a lifestyle. You have to do it forever or you're going to gain weight back, I think. I'm not an expert, so I can't speak to that, but that's just has been what I've seen with other people. So, but the intermittent fasting thing, that actually I think is that actually really works. I think if you can work it with your schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Thanks, Chris.
A lot of people use keto and intermittent fasting together, which is, yeah. Thanks, Chris. That's a great question.
Allison says, this is a good one, I thought. Just a question. I find it hard to get back on track after treats. I feels like a few days for a holiday turns into a week plus. Just wondering what your thoughts were. Yeah.
It's really funny. Sometimes I do great at hopping right back on. Like sometimes when we do like a treat, it's just like a day or two, and then I'm just like, great. I find, this is what I find, and I'm not going to speak for Ben. If I'm eating really, really, really healthy, and I have it, like, I've been eating clean for a long period of time, and I have a treat, it's a lot easier for me to get right back on. If I'm eating just average, like not super strict, and then I have a treat day, that's for me when it ends up lasting a week, because it's like I'm just not I wasn't in the routine of it before I started the treat day or whatever, or the holiday. And so it's just like, oh well, what's another, oh well, oh yeah, we're gonna start, oh well, it's fine. Like, so it's tough, but sometimes I feel stronger than others.
I'm not that way. That's the downside I don't like of doing like Daniel fast or a plan like Whole30 or something. Is I just because
I'm not talking about a plan. I'm talking about just if you're in a routine of eating.
No. I know, but then I have treat day usually at the end of something like that, and I have a hard time getting back on. It is hard for me. It's like, oh, what's one more day? Right. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just start one more day, and then all of a sudden, it's like,
yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard. I used to, when we first lost weight, I was much better at it, but as the maintenance has gone on, it's just so much easier. Just to be like, oh, here's a few days. It's a few days. It's a few days. So that also plays into, I think, the all or nothing thing, which is hard. That's why when I was really in a groove of doing, once a week having a treat, doing this thing, that was better for me rather than an all in. So it's hard. I just don't think there's any easy answer. I don't think anybody has like a pill or anything.
No, totally. And I think you go through phases where in your life where it's easier than others. From circumstance, environment, just how you're feeling, like emotionally. Like, I think it's just about, really keeping honest with it and be like, well, like Ben and I will even tell you, like this last little 4th of July thing was just a little bit of a free-for-all for about 5 days, and then we're like, that's it, that's enough, back on it. But it's like, I think you just also have to be honest with it, be like, well, that wasn't the best version of treat day that we've ever done, you know what I mean? It just went on about 4 days too long.
Yeah, well, you have these ideas in your mind, oh, I'm just going to eat this one thing or this one meal or just this one day. And then all of a sudden you find yourself skidding through like 4 or 5 days being like, oh, well. And then finally you just have to get back on. And, but that was what I was saying earlier. I think the key to maintenance is don't let it go on too long. Just call it at a certain point. Just be like, that's it.
But that's what I was saying. Like, be also owning the fact of being like, okay, this is really, you have to just almost verbalize that, like, okay, this has gone on long enough, like, we're not going to let this go on for days and days and days. We call it what it is. We did treat day more than one day, too many in a row, and now instead of waiting 6 months down the road and then, like you said, being like, man, that treat day was devastating.
Yep. All right, we have one more on Twitter. Reese put one on Twitter, which I thought was good. It was actually she just wanted to know about my sabbatical. And I think that is sort of a thing because a lot of people don't know exactly what a sabbatical is because it can mean different things. She wondered, was it,
It's not like a Ross Geller sabbatical where it was a forced sabbatical.
Right. No. First of all, in my job, as part of our employee, kind of thing, so every 7 years we get a 2-month sabbatical. So we get paid during that time, a full-on thing, and we have to submit a plan to the board of elders. But they pretty much whatever you come up with, they'll do. So some people use it as a study break, like in academia. When you get a sabbatical, you might take off time from teaching to write a book or do research. You can do that. Like my friend Greg did that a lot. He did a lot of study for he's doing a PhD, not a PhD, I don't know. He's doing a doctorate. Anyway, I wanted to use it more as for like rest. So if you think of sabbatical, comes from the word Sabbath, which is, every 7 day we have a Sabbath in the scripture, and so a day of rest. And even in the Old Testament, you have these things of a Sabbath every 7 years, and then in 50 years you have a year of Jubilee where all debts are forgiven and all this. So there's a great concept. You can go really deep into a study of it, but the idea is that really every 7 years, because as a minister, you give out to so much to people, you're available to people, it's emotionally draining a lot of times, it's very rewarding, but it's hard, and it's hard on your family sometimes. So you have this, every 7 years you have this opportunity to rest
and to reconnect
and
Ben's clearly, part of his plan is to visit every playground in New York with Harper.
That's part of my sabbatical plan. So anyway, I am doing a little bit of thing. I'm taking a class from Berkeley, Art of Mixing, which is kind of a low stress, fun kind of thing. And beyond that, I am writing some, but I'm always doing that anyway. So
keep going.
So that's pretty much it. So no sort of like forced sabbatical or distress or had to take a sabbatical because things were whatever. Just we get that every 7 years, and so I took advantage of it and am enjoying it. And one of the things is it's really hard to go to church during that time at the church you work at. So that's why we're trying to go to some different, we're going to try to go to Hillsong and just go to church as a family, just like something we don't get to do because I work at a church. So I hope that answers your question. I think that's it.
Yep, I would just like to go on record and
record. You did your water?
I did my water. Oops, wait. I am successful. Yes, I am.
Woo!
I have changed my icon. 85
You
ounces.
are awesome.
So this is day 3 of 85 ounces. I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Please be honest with us.
Really quick on the way out. And I know it takes multiple days to not build up, but I don't feel that much better. I mean, again, it's only been 3 days. But
I think 85 is a lot.
Huh?
I think 85 ounces is a lot.
But it's not bad.
Well, no, but I mean...
But I thought I would feel... Oh, see, now I'm back at 0.
Oh, no.
Oh, no is right. But I just thought I would feel better. I thought I would, Again, it's been 3 days. Get over it, Olivia. But, do you think I'm drinking too much water? That's not too much water. 85 ounces is not... It's... Yeah.
You'll see. You'll figure it out. Harper says.
How have you been doing on your water?
Good. Today I had more than my goal.
Harper's been nailing his water challenge.
Oh, yeah.
He does the apple juice water ratio.
He likes to have a little flavoring in his water.
Yeah.
I do apologize for this angle. My neck's kind of hurting now because I keep pulling it.
You look like you're in a casket or something the way you're laying.
That's all right. You can enjoy 22 minutes and 49 seconds of that.
Yeah.
It's all right. So, thank you guys. This is a bonus Q&A. These are fun. We'll see you for the regular scheduled vlog. We'll be out Monday. And Harper says good night.
Night.
Hope you're having a good weekend. Bye.